First night of the DNC's a virtual debacle. Cuomo is writing a book on leadership. AOC has an idea to save the post office, and a congressional ad goes viral that slams Baltimore Democrats.
We've done it right. We closed it up. We had the greatest economy in history. We closed it up. We understand the disease now. Nobody knew what was hitting us, right? Nobody knew that old people would be very, very susceptible, especially if they have heart and diabetes problems and other problems, that old people would be very susceptible and young people would be extremely good with it. If you look at the percentages, there are a tiny percentage that have problems, especially the big problem. So, no, I think that we're doing very well. We're on our way, and we're also opening up our economy, and our economy is going to set records. And if stupid people aren't elected next year, we're going to have one of the greatest years that we've ever had.
Welcome to the Buck Sexton Show, everybody. Great to have you here, and I think that really gets right to it. If we don't elect a bunch of dumbasses, we can have our 2019 back. That's what I want. I want the country to just go back to 2019. 2020 has been bad. This has been a bad year. There's no way around it. 2019 was pretty awesome. In fact, I remember in 2019 sitting down and talking to family and just saying, the country's good, I'm good, nothing's perfect, but man, this is a time to enjoy. I want that back. I want our peace and roaring economy. And I want sanity in public discourse, and I want safe streets. I want things that we got used to for 3 years of Trump and now are either under threat or have been taken away from us. All we have to do is stay the course. This is really the heart of the debate between the Democrats and the Republicans, as power will be up for grabs. Remember, it's not just the presidency, it's also the Congress and all the down ballot races in various states. So we've got this big national election coming up, and I want everyone to just be very clear-eyed, full hearts can't lose, about what we're facing and what we're seeing here. Because this DNC, this virtual DNC that they've had is just amazing. I mean, it's not even a question for me of why is it that the Democrats put forward candidates that they know any sane person is going to immediately look at them and what are you guys doing? It's more that they're going to pretend, right? That they're going to act like, why Republicans are being so irresponsible by not wanting to vote for Biden and Kamala Harris. Until about a minute ago, they didn't want to vote for Biden or Kamala Harris. Right. The reality here is that the Democratic Party is trying to hide what it has really become from the American voter. This is what always happens. Republicans go into elections and they're like, this is what we want to do. And the Democrats try to stop them from doing those things. And some Republicans become a little weak-kneed when they're in power and don't really follow through. But what Democrats do is act like they're going to be one thing for a certain period of time. Right, in the general election, not in the primary, act like they're going to be one thing. And then the moment they get into power, all of the radicalism of the left comes forward. Right? Let's take a step back for a second. I'm going to get into the DNC, which everyone is just having so much fun trashing. I only saw some clips of it. I'm not going to watch that thing for 3 hours. I think it was 5 hours with the pre-show. Come on. I mean, there are books to read. There are podcasts to research. There's Call of Duty to play. There's stuff to do out there, man. I can't spend 5 hours with, let's really watch it. Oh, and they all sit and clap. Oh, Bernie Sanders' speech was so amazing. Oh, my gosh, Michelle Obama is the most gifted non-politician in all history. I know it. We all know what they're going to say before they say it. Nobody's going to be convinced by any of this. The fun part of it, though, was that it did look like a telethon from circa 1989. I mean, it looked like something that I would have seen on a public access channel in my youth, where they're like, raise money to save this park. You don't want the park to be bulldozed. Raise money. It really was something It was weak sauce. The whole thing was so JV. And I do worry a little bit because I'm like, look, Republicans are going to be doing their version of it next week. And we are all having quite a laugh, quite a belly laugh at the Democrats' expense over this. And I'll get it. Like I said, I'll get into more details about some of the specifics and the speeches. And the best thing, I mean, the best thing of all was the, is it Creedence? No, I don't know even who does the song. You know, something happening here. Stop. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going round. Producer Mark, is that Creedence Clearwater? I don't know.
I don't have a clue.
I don't know. It's a very famous song. A lot of you are yelling at me. I should know who. We got to look that up. Stop. Anyway, if you didn't see it, you got to know right off the bat. Buffalo Springfield. There we go. Wait, is that right? Yeah. Buffalo Springfield, I think. Yeah. So, wow, I've actually never even, I can't even get mad at myself. I'd never even heard of that band before. I know the song very well. Anyway, if you haven't seen the version of it the DNC played, it's amazing. You got to watch it. You've got to watch it. It's awesome. It's a little bit like watching your aging, thrice married boomer friend who has joined a band at like 65 and grown out his hair really long and is throwing a party just to make everybody hear him in his new band. I don't know. I'm not talking about Joe Scarborough, although I guess I could be. It's a little bit like that. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. The whole thing was absurd. And remember, Democrats rely on being cool. That's such a big part of the brand. One of the points of appeal why you vote for these crazy libs is because they have all the celebrities and they had, Ava Longoria. Oh my gosh. I care less than zero about what Ava Longoria thinks about anything. And I can't believe that it's possible to be a well-informed person of good judgment who thinks that any of these celebrities out there that are constantly saying the most inane, stupid, lib things in public, that anybody should ever listen to them. Some of the people out there, the actors that I like, I mean, you follow James Woods on Twitter. The guy's really funny and really clever and really good at political commentary. And there are other people other people who are conservative who come from the true arts and entertainment background who I'll list because they've earned the public's, spending some time viewing their thoughts, thinking about their ideas. Just because you're a big pop star or something doesn't mean that anybody should listen to you. There was a Cardi B interview with Joe Biden. Why is Cardi B, Producer Mark, do you have an answer? Why is Cardi B interviewing Joe Biden?
I guess they're trying to get the younger audience. I don't know.
And I did see the remix of the wet ass P word that was done last week, and it is the whole thing is very funny. I sit here and think, this is what the Democrats offer? You really step back, and Trump's point, if we don't vote for idiots, things are going to go really well. It's totally true. The COVID cases are falling now, folks. It's not because of masking. It's not because we did the right thing. We rallied together. No. Public health authorities had really no mechanism whatsoever to protect us. This comes down to individual immunity. This comes down to herd immunity. This comes down to travel patterns and lifestyle and played out among hundreds of millions of people across this country. Population density, previous exposure to the virus, all kinds of things. The government has no real ability to stop this virus from spreading. I know, it's at this point. But the country is starting to feel like things are coming back. Look at the stock market, look at spending levels. People are feeling like, okay, we're getting close here. And we are supposed to have a vaccine, they say, they hope, before the end of the year. So with all of that happening, the choice is really going to be, do you want to put in charge a Democrat party, because you're voting for the party. You're not. These candidates are irrelevant. Biden and Harris ultimately mean very little to the Democrat faithful. They're just the two people that happen to get the nod this time around. But no one thinks that they're impressive. No one thinks that they're going to personally lead in any meaningful way. And if anything, I've told you, I believe that Biden's going to step aside and make room for Kamala Harris by the time of the midterms. If they win this election, Kamala Harris will be the president of the United States, running for re-election in 2024. I really believe that. So with all that, you got to say, what are they going to do that makes things better? They're going to raise taxes. They're going to pander to the environmentalist left, which is a religious group pretending to be a science-based policy initiative with the climate change craziness and all that. They're going to go back to a mindset of America's kind of the bad guy in world affairs, and we need to bow and beg our enemies, bow to and beg for forgiveness to our enemies, and maybe do some military intervention somewhere on under humanitarian guidelines. That has nothing to do really with U.S. national security interests. I mean, just go down the list. Raise your taxes, enlarge the government, more welfare, more bureaucrats. What are they going to do that makes anything better? I mean, their health care plan, we went through all this stuff with Obamacare, really so that they could expand Medicaid, which is welfare, and take money from some people in the individual market to transfer it to other people with slightly less money in the individual market. And then put some other mandates in place. And they didn't solve health care. And they've been saying they want to do Medicare for all. They're not going to get that through Congress, I don't think, but they'll keep saying. The one radical transformation that I truly believe the Democrats will enact if Joe Biden wins in this election, I believe they will do an executive-based amnesty, similar to what Obama did think of it like an expansion of DACA, right? Which Obama tried to do. Remember, DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. They tried to make it DAPA, Deferred Action for the parents of the arrivals. And as I was saying at the time, just wait till they get the Deferred Action for the cousins of recent arrivals. And then it's Deferred Action for the friends of the cousins. I mean, all of a sudden, you're at everybody, really. All with a pen and a phone, right? Remember, pen and a phone. They're going to do amnesty. And then you're looking at an entire realignment of American politics, because the Socialist Democrat Party, the party of the big state and of the redistribution of wealth and of identity politics, race-based politics, that's what identity politics are, that will become enshrined in America for generations to come. That will be the power structure in America. Socialism, race-based politics, and an overwhelming, overriding state apparatus, big S state, right? The government Leviathan. That's what's going to happen. And I don't think there's any way for anybody to convince me otherwise. I believe that this is what's going to occur. And I think that the Obama administration really set the stage for this. So then you do have to ask, what is it that would benefit? What would be of benefit to people if Biden and Harris were to win? You turn around and say, well, the only thing that is going to work here in the pitch for why you should vote for those two is that the country's in such bad shape, things are so terrible, that any change must be better. And right now, the country's beginning to just peek out from being in hiding and feeling like we've all been under this rolling house arrest, panic porn absurdity, largely because of the media and the Democrat Party. And not entirely, but largely. And now it feels like maybe we're going to get through this. And the fundamental question I ask people is it shouldn't be, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? It's, do you want the America that you had in 2019 before a global pandemic hit? Do you want that country back where everyone's getting wealthier, safety is on the rise, the government's doing well, we're getting great trade deals, we're securing the border? Do you want that country back or not? Because if the answer is yes, you want America 2019 back for 2021, for 4 more years, you are going to have to fight like heck, my friends, for the next 60 days plus. Get ready for it. I can't believe we're losing our house that we didn't even sell. That's what Deborah said when she realized that she was the victim of home title theft, which is a crime that could actually cost you your home. Here's how it works. Your information's online. The bad guys, cyber criminals, they find that information and then they use it to forge your signature stating that you sold your home to them. You often won't even find out about this until the eviction notice from your home arrives. That's what Deborah found out. You don't want to wait until that point, that's for sure. Take action now. Protect yourself with Home Title Lock. Home Title Lock creates a virtual barrier around your home's title online. It's very straightforward. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and enter promo code BUCK for 30 free days of protection. You can also check at HomeTitleLock.com and find out if you're already a victim of this crime and don't even know it. Go to HomeTitleLock.com, promo code BUCK. Again, HomeTitleLock.com, promo code BUCK.
I think it would be in the United States' interest to rejoin the Iran agreement, just as it would be to rejoin the climate agreement. We are now the only nation not in the Paris Climate Accord. But with respect to Iran, I think it's important for the United States to try to not only rejoin the agreement, but to try to put that lid back on the Iranian nuclear weapons program and keep it firmly on while trying to continue preventing a nuclear arms race with the Saudis or the Emiratis or the Egyptians or whoever else thinks that if Iran has a nuclear weapon program, they should have one too.
She's back! What happened? Hillary, oh yes, still getting attention from Democrats. I'm telling you, she is the former Broadway star who's no longer an understudy. She's collecting tickets or sweeping up after the show, but she waits in the wings for that opportunity to leap forward and all of a sudden be in the spotlight again. But she is setting this up in a way that is useful for us to think about. She's saying that she would want the Iran deal back, the Paris Climate Accord, all this stuff that, let's really be honest about it, is mostly beloved by liberals who don't understand any of these things, but the brand is such that they believe they're smarter for supporting the climate change agreement in Paris. They think they're smarter because the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA, is something that the really smart Obama administration told them they should support. They're skipping past with all of this. Hillary is certainly skipping past that the reason Trump got elected was because many of those things from the Obama era were not nearly as popular as Democrats tried to make everyone believe. And we've also seen the results of them. Think of all the fighting, all the back and forth, battles over the constitutionality of and the implementation of Obamacare. Has Obamacare made your health care better? Has it really helped you? In any is anyone listening to this like, yeah, because of Obamacare, everything is great? It's just not true. And you look at the foreign policy of the Obama administration, it was an abomination. And Hillary wants us to go back to that? No, Trump won because of what Obama did for 8 years. And I'm just going to say it. Obama won in large part because of what Bush did. So why is it that we would think going back to what was rejected the last time around would be better for Democrats? Oh, I don't know. Maybe that's where the post office controversy comes in. From #1 New York Times bestselling author Brad Thor comes his latest, Near Dark. This is the entry into the Scott Harvath series that you have been waiting for. They say you can't put a price on freedom, but the world's largest bounty has just been placed on America's top spy. He's got to unravel the enemy's deadly plot before darkness prevails. His only hope for survival, outwit, outrun, and outlast his enemies long enough to get to the truth. But for Scott Harvath to accomplish his most dangerous mission ever, one that has already claimed the lives of people closest to him, including his new wife, he's going to need help, and a lot of it. He finds an unlikely ally in a Norwegian intelligence operative who's just as smart, just as deadly, and just as determined as he is. Pick up your copy of Brad Thor's Near Dark today, the latest entry in the highly acclaimed and highly readable Scott Harvath series. Near Dark, pick up your copy today. Remember, the Democrats are telling you that you should vote for them, or not you. If you listen to this show, they probably know you're a lost cause for them, but that Americans should vote for them because they are so much better, so much smarter. You know, I had a lawyer friend point something out to me yesterday. He said, do you know that Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Kamala Harris, all with Kamala Harris, I forget where she went to law school, but Hillary went to Yale Law School, which is arguably the best law school in the country. Michelle Obama went to Harvard Law School, which is usually thought of as, I think, the number 2 law school in the country. And Kamala went to like a state law school in the UC system, I believe. And, you know, all 3 of them failed the bar exam on their first try. I'm just going to go on a limb and say not a lot of people that in that era in particular who went to Harvard Law or Yale Law fail the bar exam. My friend told me, you know, this isn't just, it's not a question necessarily of how smart an individual is. It's actually really about dedication and work ethic. Because if you study and you're a reasonable lawyer, you'll pass. Now, you could say that's just a little minor thing. I think it's interesting. Because we're always told that these Democrats are so smart. And then look who they put forward. First of all, the people that they tell us are so brilliant, like Hillary Clinton, are cunning. Hillary Clinton is conniving. But why is she brilliant exactly? She married a guy who, through a fluke, who was bright, but everyone's, Bill Clinton's some kind of a genius. No, he's just good at walking around, shaking hands and kissing babies and squeezing ladies' bums and all. You know, the guy's not some genius. So much of this is just what people say to sound like they understand something about politics. If you were a casual reader of newspapers and you watched the occasional news broadcast in the 90s, you were trained to think that Bill Clinton was brilliant. Rhodes Scholar, brilliant. And they'll throw out these credentialing programs as evidence of why the Democrat in question is so. You'll never hear that Donald Trump went to Wharton, arguably the best business school in the world, right? They never talk. They don't bring that into the conversation. The same way that it didn't matter that Bush went to Yale and I think Harvard Business School. Didn't matter. He's a dumbass, they would say, right? But Democrats, it's, look at the fancy schools they went to. Well, Michelle Obama went to Harvard Law School and failed the bar exam. Hillary Clinton went to Yale Law School and failed the bar exam. Kamala Harris went to a law school, failed the bar exam. It's interesting, isn't it? Those are some of the top people. You got the VP, the former First Lady, and the former First Lady, and the former Secretary of State and former Senator. And we're always told that they're so brilliant, but then when you actually look at who's put forward, look, there are, unfortunately, plenty of brilliant Democrats. They tend to, run enormous businesses like Amazon or work in Silicon Valley. There are people who are super smart. Obviously, there's half the country's Democrats. But I'm just talking about their leadership. I'm talking about who they elevate and who they're trying to elevate with this DNC convention. And it's just not impressive. They're just not impressed. You look at this lineup of speakers, Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Gretchen Whitmer. Oh, gosh, yeah. Have you left your house today? Because you're not allowed. Oh, no. Oh, not allowed to leave your house. You're on your lockdown, sir. It's for your own good. We like to call it house arrest. How about a muffin? Yeah. No. I'm not impressed by any of this. But that's all part of the branding. I bring this up largely because I want you to be aware of the way the propaganda seeps in. We're all always told, Hillary Clinton is so smart. I've met brilliant people in my life, And you know they're brilliant very quickly. It's not hard to tell, not hard to figure it out. And I don't think Hillary Clinton's brilliant at all. I think she's ruthless and completely amoral and self-interested in a way that is psychopathic. But sure, we can call her brilliant. Michelle Obama gave a taped speech. I do 5 hours of extemporaneous radio every day. I'm supposed to be impressed by somebody reading off of a prompter? Okay, I mean, look, I know presidents of both parties do this, and it's standard, but I'm starting to be a guy who I can't be told these things anymore, and not. I mean, I've always thought it was nonsense, but I can't be told these things and be quiet. I can't be told that Bernie Sanders, who's now just completely like, I'm a corporatist, vote for Biden. He's going to make things fantastic. It's going to be great. It's going to be the most progressive. Oh, well, here, you can actually hear it from the Bern himself. He will get us to play clip 14, please.
Joe will also make it easier for workers to join unions, create 12 weeks of paid family leave, fund universal pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds, and make child care affordable for millions of families. Joe will rebuild our crumbling infrastructure and fight the threat of climate change by transitioning us to 100% clean electricity over the next 15 years. These initiatives will create millions of good-paying jobs all across our country.
We don't need these people to transition us to clean electricity. This is rooted in religious belief. There's no basis for this other than the completely absurd position that the world is going to start to melt or is going to end unless we have a great leap forward, or really feel like a great leap backward of renewable energy sources. We are already decarbonizing, and we have been for a long time in our energy sources. We're more and more efficient, more natural gas, less coal. This is already happening, but it's happening based on the market and based on technology. But that's not enough. Democrats have to create, for a lot of people, especially those who have turned away from religion, spirituality, morality, dare I say, they need a reason to exist. And that reason is the religion of climate change. But Bernie Sanders is just willing to come out now and throw his whole weight behind Joe Biden. If I were a real Sanders bro, if I were one of the Bernie bros out there, there is no way, absolutely no way, that I would accept what the Democrat Party has done here. Just wouldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Right? They stole it from him in 2016, and they stole it from him in the 2020 election for the 2020 cycle. The establishment was just like, no, it can't really be Bernie. That would have been an interesting campaign, at least. I mean, to have an open socialist would have been really worthwhile. I would have really enjoyed watching those debates. But remember, no one really thinks Biden's going to do well in debates. No one thought that Bernie Sanders in a general election debate was going to look sane. And no one's impressed by Kamala Harris. This is the best they can do. A lot of things, a lot of places where you could criticize President Trump. Fine. But the guy is dynamic. He is fearless. He is unbelievably energetic. And he has a gut level instinct about politics and just about what's going to work as a general concept. What's real? What's going to get it done? That makes him a very useful political figure. That makes him somebody who was able to create a one-man movement without the party infrastructure behind him. In fact, the party infrastructure of the GOP was against him. The only person that was similar to that was Bernie Sanders, but he's a socialist, and Democrats can't be too honest about what they really want to do and how they're really going to go. Speaking of too honest, at this point, it's beyond parody when you have these former Republicans. Usually they're consultants, or And I'm not going to name that because, you don't, well, none of you are going to listen to it. So, there's the Lincoln Project, these former consultant types out there who case, they say, for abortion, or the conservative case for socialism, the conservative case for climate change-based authoritarianism, whatever it is, right? They will contort and distort conservatism and the right for their own near-term financial benefit, and do so while holding themselves up as the truth tellers, the ones who will speak truth to power. No, they are the quislings. They are begging from the scraps from the Democrats' table. It's gross. And you know who fits into that category is among the most distasteful, the most unlikable of all Republican politicians. And no, I'm not talking about Mitt Romney, although I could. Kasich. Kasich is out there stumping for Democrats now at this DNC, speaking out against Trump, and there's other Republicans too. Let's hear from these clowns so we can knock them down. Play 13.
I'm a lifelong Republican, but that attachment holds second place to my responsibility to my country. That's why I've chosen to appear at this convention. In normal times, something like this would probably never happen, but these are not normal times. I'm proud of my Republican heritage. It's the party of Lincoln, who reflected its founding principles of unity and a higher purpose. But what I have witnessed these past 4 years belies those principles. I'm sure there are Republicans and independents who couldn't imagine crossing over to support a Democrat. They fear Joe may turn sharp left and leave them behind. I don't believe that because I know the measure of the man. It's reasonable, faithful, respectful. And no one pushes Joe around. Joe Biden is a man for our times that call for all of us to take off our partisan hats and put our nation first for ourselves and, of course, for our children.
Kasich is a slimy loser, and I'm not sure that Joe Biden can tie his shoes, his own shoes or Kasich's shoes. But sure, let's hear from Kasich on this one. I really despise the never Trump conceit that somehow they haven't fully morphed into Democrats, because they are now Democrats. When you're rooting for the Democrat Party, when you're raising money for it, when you're trying to help Democrats win, you're no longer acting on principle. You're acting on selfishness. You see, that's what's really motivating and has all along the never Trump position. They are pawns. They are tools to be used for the benefit of Democrats, and to do so under this guise, under this pretense of being people who are moral and ethical. And the real Republicans want Democrats to win. That's their position. It's gross, but it is what they're saying. But let's move to now, shall we? Michelle Obama, the keynote, if you will, of the first night of the DNC. Let's hear what Michelle Obama had to say about all of it.
I know Joe. He is a profoundly decent man, guided by faith. He was a terrific vice president. He knows what it takes to rescue an economy, beat back a pandemic, and lead our country. And he listens. He will tell the truth and trust science. He will make smart plans and manage a good team. And he will govern as someone who's lived a life that the rest of us can recognize.
Okay, what is the evidentiary basis for all of these claims? Right, it's essentially the real pitch that Michelle Obama made for Joe Biden last night. I'm sure you're going to hear it tonight and tomorrow night as this DNC debacle continues. What's the real pitch? That he is such a great guy and is going to make such good decisions. Where's the evidence of that in his background? What can we point to where we say Joe Biden really took the reins there? He's a guy who gets things done. With what? Exactly. I just want to know. His calling card used to be foreign policy, but when you ask what is the foreign policy initiative or plan that Joe Biden pushed for and turned out to make him look really prescient, really brilliant, what is it? I can't think. I mean, I know that he's been wrong on a lot of stuff. He was wrong on matters of war and peace. He was wrong on matters of trade. He was pretty much just willing to do whatever he thought he should do at the time in order to keep getting reelected, the senator from Delaware. Oh, and did the bidding of the credit card companies. Credit card companies, which I will remind you, and this is true on a bipartisan basis, although it's worse with Democrats like Biden than anybody else, were able to get away with things like moving due dates and playing games so they could jack up people's interest rates. Things that if it weren't carved out in the law for credit card companies, other places, other people with similar conduct would be considered fraud. The credit card companies have played very rough in the past and have gotten away with all kinds of stuff, but they've owned people in the Senate and the Congress like Joe Biden. Where is this great ethical? Oh, didn't Joe Biden accuse Mitt Romney of wanting to put black Americans, quote, put y'all back in chains, end quote? Really a horrible smear of Mitt Romney and of the Republican Party, but willing to exploit any racially based slander in order to try to take down Republicans. So he'll say whatever he has to say whenever he has to say it. There's been no issue where I've seen Joe Biden cross the aisle in my adult lifetime and be a meaningful, sober voice on something that mattered. Joe Biden is the classic Democrat hack politician. But Michelle Obama doesn't care. Play 12.
Being president doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are. Well, a presidential election can reveal who we are too. And 4 years ago, too many people chose to believe that their votes didn't matter. Maybe they were fed up. Maybe they thought the outcome wouldn't be close. Maybe the barriers felt too steep, whatever the reason. In the end, those choices sent someone to the Oval Office who lost the national popular vote by nearly 3 million votes. In one of the states that determined the outcome, the winning margin averaged out to just 2 votes per precinct. 2 votes. And we've all been living with the consequences.
Oh, so voter fraud could be a really big deal then. Thanks, Michelle.